Welcome to the Amigo Cartcast, the podcast where we roll through the ins and outs of material handling with Amigo carts. I'm your host, Samantha Taylor, here with my co-host, Scott Chappell, and we're on a mission to find a better way for material handling.
Thank you, Samantha. Each episode will explore the innovative features, success stories, and the endless possibilities that Amigo material handling carts bring to the table. Let's roll into a world of efficiency, innovation, and endless possibilities. This is the Amigo Cartcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Amigo Cartcast. I might say this every time, but this could be my favorite episode because we have a very special guest today. Jen, who is our Director of New Business Development and Business Development here at Amigo, has been part of the Amigo family literally since the day she was born. So we have Jen in studio and Scott is calling in out on the road. So welcome, Jen, and thanks for joining us.
You're making me blush. She just says I'm her favorite because I'm sitting right across from her right now.
No, that is not true. That is not true.
Well, this is my favorite podcast I've ever been a part of. So thank you. And I think my first, but still my favorite.
Well, she says favorite for every guest that we have. So don't get too wound up about it.
Well, I've only heard it today for me, so I'm taking it.
Perfect. I do enjoy when we have guests because it really paints a picture of all the different people that are kind of behind our products. I know we've talked about that in the past. So what we want to discuss today with Jen specifically is how our industrial line came to be. She's been a huge part of growing this market for us.
So my parents started Amigo in 1968, and I officially started with the company, I think, 17 years ago. I haven't been around quite as long as Scotty, but I'm catching up to him. And I started in marketing, and I spent some time in retail sales to grocery stores with a focus on international, and then back in marketing, and today I'm over business development. So that oversees our marketing team and any new business opportunities. Part of that is looking at what's next and what's next in the future. So when Amigo Mobility got started in 1968, we were created to help people with disabilities. And that's what we did for the first few decades. That's primarily was our only focus. We did a little bit with selling motorized shopping carts to grocery stores, but that switch didn't really flip until the mid to late 2000s when insurance changed and healthcare got more difficult. So we focused mostly on retail and grocery stores selling motorized shopping carts. What we found is that we need to always be looking to the next 50 years and the next 50 years to make sure that our company keeps growing and keeps supporting our local community and manufacturing products right here in Michigan. That's something we're very passionate about and care about, that we want to keep the company going. So when we're looking at what's the next thing for us, in 2015, 2016, we had some other products that were out in the market that led us to developing the industrial sales network. But actually, in the 1980s, which I say material handling, I can now officially say started before me, we bought a product called the Jet product line that was in another company in Michigan. They sold the product line. And so in the mid to early 80s, they had 3 different models, one for security, one for material handling, and one for hospitals. We had a full-time salesperson, but it didn't really take off. We didn't make it a focus because at the time we were getting into franchising for our healthcare mobility carts. So that product line didn't get too far then, but it's ironic that we have this history with us. It was almost like there was a visionary here that knew that this was going to be another avenue for Amigo, that visionary being Al Thieme, my dad. So in 2016, 2015, we were testing out a small grocery cart retriever in grocery stores. And that product fetched carts and brought it in. So we called it the Max. And it really wasn't the right time or the right product that we needed. So that didn't go too far. So our R&D manager worked on putting a deck on that and was testing it at a local hotel to move luggage. So when people checked in, the bellhop could take this motorized cart to move luggage to their rooms. So we kind of tested that out a little bit, looked at it, and as a company, we were seeing, all right, what do we do with these products? And we really dug in and did a little bit of research and looked at what we're good at and how we want to grow. And we packaged these products, redid them a little bit, added a few more, and decided to do a focus on the industrial market. So create these not specifically for hotels, not specifically for grocery stores. We're already in that market, but really redesign them with the focus to be an industrial setting. So I worked very closely with Al Businger, our R&D manager at the time. I mean, I remember many meetings in his office, just pulling up a chair next to his desk, and as he's in CAD designing it, doing a lot of tests out in the field to get it right. So it started with the Max and Max Pro, and then we added the Dex and the Dex Pro. And today, how many products do we have in the line?
Scott, you want to take that one?
Of course I will. Of course. I mean, you got me sitting in the corner here. I haven't said a thing yet, but we've got 5 products currently today that we offer.
Okay. Yeah. And so the Max, we don't have that right now, but we have the Max Pro and then some others. So we have both walk behind and stand on products to have. But yeah, when we started, it was only, I think, 4 products. So it felt a little bit like swimming upstream, because not only were we creating one new product at Amigo, which we do often, but we are creating a family of products and a whole new sales network. And so there was a lot of research and very helpful people out in the field. We went to some trade shows, some rep networking events to see what is the best way to sell in this market. So we have learned a lot, and the tides really turned in 2017 when Scott Chappell stopped by Amigo.
Oh, stop it.
And I invited him to lunch, and here we are, how many years later, with having his own podcast. Yeah, in this market.
7 years later.
Yeah.
You know, Jen, I think part of this that kind of was missed a little bit is that when your dad originally talked to the company about the jet to try to get our sit-down product going for folks in healthcare, how all of a sudden that was ironically a stand-up product back then in the 1960s. And then all of a sudden your father creates a sit-down product with the components. And then all of a sudden in 2016, 17, we decide that we want to go back to a stand-up. So here we are, a company in healthcare and in grocery commercial with sit-down products, and all of a sudden now we're stand-up. Did that come into play with you at all? I mean, why, when you started this, did we go stand-up, I guess is my question.
Al Thieme, that visionary, he was thinking 50 years in the future, huh?
Yes, he was.
When this is the first product line that we have designed, not specifically for people with disabilities, which everything else we've done in Amigo's past have been designed to help people with disabilities. So this was really different for us. And when you think about efficiency and safety and using them and testing them in our own facility here, when you stand up to drive something, you're more engaged, you have better visibility, you can see things better, you can get on and off the cart quicker. So it really made a lot of sense to be a stand-up cart. And also, it's different than what's out in the market right now. I mean, you look at a lot of the comparable motorized material handling carts, and they are sit-down. And that's been an advantage to some of the facilities we go in. The people who look at it and see, they say, oh, this makes so much sense that it is a stand-up cart, and it would be safer and more engaging for our facility.
I agree 100%. And when you started this in 16, obviously I came back in 17 after being in healthcare for a long, long time. So I was on the other side of the fence. I'm just going to tell everybody kind of the personal side of it for me was when I started in 1989 and helping people at that time, the folks that needed help with accessibility and so on, it was new for me and it was a breath of fresh air. So on a personal note, I was able to start growing that healthcare in Bridgeport, Michigan, out of our local store in 1990. Well, in 2017, and I've told this story many times, this product line for Scott only, when I came back to work with you, Jen, was another breath of fresh air. It felt like 1990 all over again.
Wait.
Honestly,
was it the product line or me?
It was both. It was both. It was both. But I'm just telling you from a professional standpoint,
yeah.
I, in 2017, started growing this like we did in 1990 at the local store. And that's what's really driven me even today. I mean, I love this product line. It's so unique. It's new. It's fresh. People don't know anything about it. And that's the biggest part of this, of what I do daily that I really enjoy.
Yeah. And why you're the perfect person, to join forces and kick this off. Because you're right. It's exactly what you did back in the 90s and get something new rolling. And that's kind of what Amigo's good at, is that we do something that's unique, that people haven't seen before. And as we say, they don't know that they need yet. When in 1968, we had the very first mobility cart for people with disabilities. And before that, people were typically pushed around in a wheelchair. And my dad was a plumbing and heating contractor at the time, didn't have any manufacturing or engineering experience, but he saw a need. He knew there must be a better way. And he was swimming upstream for many, many years, convincing people that, yes, I'm a plumber who invented this product, but there is a need and it will make lives better. And, here we are 50 plus years later, and hundreds of thousands of people around the world use a product like this to get around and use it for their mobility. It took a while to be accepted and for people to recognize and see that this is a benefit and fills a need. Then we did the same thing with motorized shopping carts in grocery stores. Typically, people with a disability may not be able to shop, and the ADA Act did help a lot with that accessibility and driving it. But really, in the mid to late 2000s, when more and more grocery stores started putting motorized shopping carts in their stores, accessibility became something that was required. And, they didn't want any barriers to shopping. So now every grocery store you go into has a motorized shopping cart, with the majority being Amigo. Thank you. But it took a little while to get that out there. So we made the first motorized shopping cart in 1970, and I don't think it was till the late 2000s that you started seeing them as standard in grocery stores. So I truly believe that this material handling product line in industrial settings is the same thing. We are filling a gap in the market. There's the small material handling carts or the push carts, or there's the larger ones that retail for $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 or more. And we saw a need for the mid-size material handling cart. Let's right-size your equipment. Let's find the right product for you. So, every time we do a demo and go out, at least I used to hear a lot, this is something we didn't even know that we needed. We didn't even see the gap in our efficiency for this. And I just know it's this little snowball that we started rolling, and it's going to pick up more and more momentum going down that hill. And this is going to be a big chunk of the material handling market, these mid-sized products. But we create something unique, and we're good at that, and we're passionate about that, and it's going to carry us through for the next 50 years.
This conversation is going so well with some amazing content that we are going to wrap it up here as a two-part episode. So this will conclude episode 1 of 2 parts. Stay tuned for our next episode to be released shortly. And that wraps up another episode of the Amigo Cartcast. We hope you enjoy this exploration into finding a better way for material handling with Amigo carts. Be sure to subscribe, as well as go to myamigo.com/podcast to see pictures and videos mentioned in today's episode.
Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, keep rolling with Amigo.
Until next time,
keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.